Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Friday, September 16, 2022. And giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Florida State, FSU, versus Louisville. The Noles went 5-7 last season and 4-4 in the ACC. With 8 returning starters on each side of the poll, Florida State came into this season with 2 out of 164 first-place votes to win the ACC, according to the preseason poll. They were also selected to finish 5th in the Atlantic Division, 1 spot below Louisville. Florida State opened the season with a 47-7 win over Duquesne and followed that up with a dramatic 24-23 win over LSU, which was aided by a missed Tigers extra point that would have sent the game into overtime. Louisville went 6-7 overall and 4-4 in the ACC in 2021. The Cardinals entered this season with 7 starters on each side of the ball. Through the first 2 games, the results have been extreme opposites, as Louisville opened the season with a 31-7 road loss as a 5.5-point favorite against Syracuse and beat Central Florida on the road 2014 as a 5.5-point favorite last Friday. It's hard to go against the Cardinals at home, but from what I have seen so far, the Cardinals are also a hard team to trust. Florida State does have more talent, has had more time to prepare, and I believe will be ready for the environment coming off the victory against LSU. Malik Cunningham is going to need a big game for the Cardinals to win. Through the first 2 games, he's been shaky, and Florida State has the talent on defense to put a spy on him and contain him from scrambling out of the pocket. This certainly isn't one of my favorite plays of the week, but I will take the Noles, who have covered in 5 of their last 6 road games, to get it done. Our team pick is Florida State minus 2.5 points. The Florida State defense has been one of its strengths through the first 2 weeks of the season. FSU is 33rd in total defense, allowing an average of 15.0 points per game. The Seminoles' defense is allowing an average of 256.0 yards of total offense, including 116.0 yards per game rushing and 140.0 yards per game passing. Linebacker Tatum Bethune and defensive back Renardo Green are the leading tacklers with 11 each. Lineman Jared Verse is the leader in quarterback sacks with 3.0. The Louisville Cardinals are scoring an average of only 13.5 points per game. Louisville's total offense is 122nd. The Cardinals are averaging 377.5 yards per game, including 181.5 yards per game rushing and 196.0 yards per game passing. Quarterback Malik Cunningham has 353 yards passing with no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Tian Evans has 164 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, while Cunningham has 155 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Tyler Hudson has 169 yards receiving to lead all receivers for the Cardinals. Florida State is scoring an average of 35.5 points per game, but the Cardinals are allowing an average of only 15.0 points per game. The total has finished under in each of Florida State's last 6 games, and in 6 of the last 7 that the Seminoles have played on the road. Louisville scored only 7 points in its season opener and is scoring an average of only 13.5 points per game after scoring 20 this past weekend. The total has finished under in 5 of the last 7 games that Louisville has played in the ACC. Our total pick is under 50 points. Air Force versus Wyoming. Air Force wasn't really tested against FCS Northern Iowa in their opener, winning 48-17. They did step up in competition against Colorado on September 10th and destroyed them by 31. Fullback Brian Roberts ran for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the Falcons in a relatively easy win over the Buffaloes. However, it was a sloppy game for Air Force, who fumbled 3 times, though they also forced 2 fumbles and picked off CUQB JT Shroud off once. Falcons quarterback Haziq Daniels was 1 for 5 for 8 yards and ran for just 29 yards. But in the option offense, if the fullback is picking up 174 yards and the team rushes for 435 yards, you are usually in good shape. It helps with time of possession, 38-22 to 21-38. It also allows the defense to rest, though it might not have mattered as Air Force held the Buffs to just 162 total yards and forced them to go a combined 1 for 13 on 3rd and 4th downs. Wyoming opened the season with a very disappointing 38-6 loss at Illinois on August 27. QB Andrew Peasley struggled, going 5 of 20 for 30 yards with a pick. Peasley did bounce back and is now completing 50% of his passes for 430 yards with 2 TDs and a pick. Peasley is a transfer from Utah State who played sparingly for the Aggies in 4 seasons, recording a 7-touchdown to 5 interception ratio. His strongest trait is his ability to run as a dual-threat quarter. In the Cowboys' 33-10 home win over FCS Northern Colorado last Saturday, Peasley threw for 144 yards but had just 3 carries for -12 yards. Wyoming edged Tulsa 40-37 in overtime on September 3, and Peasley ran for 45 yards and threw for 256 yards with 2 TDs and no picks. The big issue for Wyoming is whether they can stop the run. They rank 105th against the pass, and that's irrelevant in this game. They rank 50th against the run, allowing just 112 yards per game. Last season, they gave up 181 yards per game on the ground, 98, and that's not going to fly on this one. The Cowboys have just 2 starters back on defense and also lost projected starting to Sebastian Harsh, undisclosed injury, for the season in late August. I know that's a lot of points to lay on the road, but who is going to stop Air Force this season on the ground? They struggled last week with 3 turnovers against Colorado and still managed to put up 41 points. Having an experienced quarterback like Daniels is crucial to the option offense. There's no defense that he hasn't seen in defending the option. He also has experienced skill players like Roberts and most of this offensive line returning. The only advantage Wyoming has is that they've played more games, but is that really an advantage? Air Force will try and make a statement in this conference game and will continue to creep up in the top 25. Our team pick is Air Force -15 points. The Air Force Falcons have been doing extremely well on the ground as they hand the ball off to senior running back Brad Roberts. So far this year, he has 32 carries for 288 yards, 9 yards per attempt, with 4 rushing touchdowns right now, without being involved in the passing game throughout his entire career. He had a huge game throughout the last game against Colorado, as he finished with 24 rushing attempts for 174 yards, 7.3 yards per carry, with 3 rushing touchdowns, including a 46-yard run. If he can continue to run for a bunch of yards per attempt, it will be difficult to stop the Falcons. The offense of the Wyoming Cowboys has been doing well, and a big part has been the production from sophomore wide receiver Joshua Cobbs. On the season, Cobbs has 12 receptions for 135 yards, 11.3 yards per catch, with a receiving touchdown. He had a solid game last week against the Northern Colorado Bears, as he had 5 catches for 44 yards, 8.8 yards per reception, without finding the end zone. If they can continue to draw up plays where the Cowboys can get Joshua Cobbs open, it will be a great sign for this game. These defenses have been doing a good job to limit the amount of chunk plays to the point where it will take time to drive down the field. Running the football means that the clock is going to tick down and less total plays are going to be called, and both teams run the ball a lot. Air Force is averaging 66 rushing attempts per game this year, while Wyoming is running the ball 38.3 times per game throughout the season. Neither team has been doing well completing passes throughout the season, as Daniels has a 36.4 completion percentage so far, while Peasley has a 55 completion percentage this season. The under has hit in 11 of the previous 14 games against one another, so go with under 46.5 points in this matchup as well. Our total pick is under 46.5 points.